So, hello and welcome. Right, so I've just fallen down a rabbit hole. The rabbit hole for motion simulators. And what you can see before you is, well, my first experiment. Well, one of. I'm obviously doing some that are full scale, but yeah, they're not for public viewing right at the moment. But anyhow, it's going to be a short video, but I want to make, because everyone keeps saying to me, if your system just leant, and even though in reality, the leaning is not so important, it's the pitch, it's when you brake and when you accelerate. The roll you really don't feel. When you're riding a real motorbike, you don't really feel so much that you're rolling. It's a bit hard to explain. Anyhow, quick demonstration to show the principle. What I've done is I'm redesigning the frame for my personal simulator. And obviously, I mean, I've just started, I've sold one to Yamaha and just started on that road. So I'm trying to get this done so that when the bike comes back from then, the simulator is going to come back for checkup, and I'm going to do some mods, and eventually it will also, with luck, be getting motion. But first of all prototyping gets done on my frame. But basically what you see for you is the frame is 1/10, but unfortunately the bodywork, I haven't got a 1/10 model. So this is a 1/12 model. Because, well, what I'll do is I'll show you how it's going to be moving. Basically the game will be sending a signal back. So you'll be riding the bike in game, sitting on the system, and then if you were to like brake, the motion system will move down. If you accelerate, it will come up, and then you've obviously got, if you're going to lean to your left or lean to your right, the system will move over. So I hope you can actually see the system moving there. My hands seem to be, a bit in the way, but you can see it moves up. And like I say, if you brake, then you come up when you accelerate. Obviously this is just a small model, but what it basically is, and you can see I can't do a 1/12 because this little joint here, this is a universal joint, and so I've just designed it, 3D printed it. You see how small it is in my fingers, if I can hold it in the camera correctly. Very hard when you're talking to a camera. You can see how small that is. Yes, I've been painting, it's black hands. Yeah, but anyhow, that small joint is underneath here. So if I just get rid of our bodywork and give them some money, you can now see here we've got our frame, how it's going to move up and down. And yeah, turn it just a little bit. See, we've got our roll, so our right, left roll, then our braking, our acceleration. So basically, that's all going to be sitting within the fairing and everything. So inside the fairing, and obviously it'll be under the tank. So you'd have your bodywork on top. And then the motors would be under here. Obviously right at the moment I'm just using 2 servos, but the principle is exactly the same. My point is to find center of gravity, to have the axis joint as near to the sternum of the body, which is your center mass of the human body. And the further you have that away from the pitch point, then the more powerful motors you need, the more strain is going to be made. So I wanted it to actually move from the bottom, like on this frame here. I actually wanted it to pitch from the bottom point, but that means that from this pivot point up to the body, which would be up here, That's a lot of weight that would have to carry. So I've had to basically relegate back to the principle of having it as near to the body, so that it'll work. But I also wanted to keep it inside all the body work as opposed to being outside. I want to keep it compact and try to look as neat as possible. These bars here, the fairing would then in fact pass in front of this, come back and up. And then obviously you've got your seat and your tank unit. So what's it going to be done on first? Well, it's going to be on my CBR, which is sitting there. So basically, if you look here, you'll see. So these frames here, all this will be coming off, and then that main bar will be travelling forwards to the back here, and that leg will be then coming down and coming out from the inside of the fairing. I've already done tests where it will clear so that the fairing can move from side to side as it swings, and it can pitch up and down, and that will then fit inside here. So the motors themselves, where those servos, the motors would be sitting there, so everything would be nice inside. So it looked basically the same as it is now. You just have a bit of a bar coming down here like this, and then one towards the rear. So that's just that quick video I wanted to make to show what the plan of action is. And yes, I've finally fell down that rabbit hole. So anyhow, like I say, thank you very much for watching. Oh, I've gone all hoarse all of a sudden. Okay, well, thank you very much, and I'll keep you informed about this journey, because next up, working with a guy over in Sweden, and we're like he's going to get me some code, and then we're going to test me riding the CBR, and this unit here, still connected to the Arduino, will then be plugged into my computer, and I'll be riding in GP Bikes, and then GP Bikes will send a signal back to the Arduino. The Arduino will then control this model, and this will then, as I go into a right corner, this will then lean. I'll be able to actually see, with me controlling on my sit-on system in-game, it will then send all the signals that will then eventually go to my sit-on system, send it back to the model so I can evaluate how much movement there is and see what to do before I start having to find the money to build the real thing, which is not going to be too expensive, but it's not going to be cheap. And I am broke, as always. So anyhow, thank you very much for watching. I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.